Hello, my name is Ken, and I am presenting the project charter put together by the Knowledge Associates Group. We have selected the Management and Operations case study. The purpose of this video is to share what we have put together so far and to collect some feedback from the class about our approach. We've approached the case study by viewing the case study document as a statement of work. From this statement of work, we've derived the following project overview and business case. Namely, we're performing a pilot of delivering medication with drones. For the high-level requirements and deliverables, we've created a requirements traceability matrix in order to concisely present what the high-level requirements are and the corresponding deliverables. It's our belief that this approach is a concise approach to presenting all of the required information for the deliverables that are necessary in order to create a common understanding of the purpose and expectations for each of the deliverables. Our questions for the class are, is 11 requirements a reasonable amount for this project? And second, does the requirements traceability matrix approach present enough detail about each of the deliverables to allow for a common understanding? For the project phases and milestones, I'm going to switch over to the project charter document. We've identified the following executive milestones that correspond to each of the phases of the project, and all of the executive milestones have the identified due date except for the closing executive milestone, for which a due date has not yet been assigned. For ongoing project meetings, the approach that we would like to take are daily stand-ups or scrum meetings for the team check-in. During daily stand-ups, the team will review 3 items. 1, what work was completed yesterday. 2, what work will be completed today. And 3, what new risks or issues have the team identified. The project management team will meet twice a week for 30 minutes. During this meeting, the manager, sponsor, stakeholders, and representatives from cross-impacted areas of the company will review items such as the project backlog. The project backlog is a list of features prioritized that the project management team would like to see implemented. Every 2 weeks, the team will demonstrate the features that have been developed in the previous iteration or the previous 2 weeks of the project. And lastly, as required, the Change Control Board will perform integrated change control. Change requests must be submitted for any changes to the high-level requirements and corresponding deliverables, changes to the executive milestones, and changes to the project budget that would result in a change that puts the budget in excess of the allocated amount listed in the budget estimate. We've also identified the following project documents that will be created throughout the project. Continues onto the second page. Quality control and user training are still items which must be identified later. We've described the executive milestones in a bit more detail as well. $1,750,000 for this prototype project has been allocated by Wilmots. There is not enough information at the current point in order to estimate the cost for this project. A cost estimate will be provided at the end of the project planning phase and updated at the end of every iteration. We've identified the following assumptions, constraints, and risks. For the risks that we have identified are that customer private information and Wilmot's proprietary information will be leaked. The steps that we've taken to the steps that we suggest for mitigating these risks is regular auditing of the system. We have also identified risk events where that the project is not ready or the pharmacy locations are not ready. We'll describe the mitigation approach in the following slide. And the last two risk events that we've identified are that the business processes will not perform as required, and that the IT systems will not have enough availability or capacity to perform as required for this project. We would like to take an agile approach to this project, and we would like some feedback from the class about this idea. Since there's a low understanding of requirements up front, and since there's a low understanding of the requirements for various business processes and for what this pilot will look like, we would like to take an iterative and incremental approach to feature development. Namely, every 2 weeks, the team will focus on a set of high priority features as defined by the project management group. They will develop this functionality in order of priority, and the project management team will perform rolling wave planning, i.e., whenever they meet, they will ensure that the following features for the next iteration, the next 2 weeks of the project, are high priority and will allow for enough high priority functionality to be created as early as possible to ensure early business value. By demoing the functionality with the sponsors, relevant stakeholders, and representatives from each part of the business, they will be able to perform quality control throughout the project. We've identified the following roles and responsibilities for this project. And lastly, the challenges and lessons learned from this project are, well, we've had 3 main challenges. The first, transient nature of team membership. There's supposed to be a third member of the team that was to help create this project charter, but they have since left the class. This transient nature of team membership reflects realities in consulting work and in Silicon Valley. So our approach to this is to rely on rolling wave planning and to prioritize deliverables that require subject matter expertise early on. Second challenge is that we have a poor understanding of requirements, so our approach to this is to include check-ins with project sponsors throughout the execution phase and to develop high priority deliverables early on to ensure that they reflect the requirements of the sponsors and stakeholders. Our third challenge is the lack of domain space knowledge. So our approach to this item is to involve input from other teams when planning each iteration. Thank you for taking the time to watch our presentation of our project charter.